statements of himself being the good shepherd and looking towards all the Old Testament background of what that means, where God himself speaks of himself as the shepherd of Israel, and he condemns the human shepherds of Israel as failing under him to shepherd his flock. And that's why he says, I myself will be their shepherd. So when Yeshua talks about himself as the good shepherd, he's actually saying, hey, remember God said this? I'm God. Right? This is one of his I am statements throughout John. So when he sends them to the lost sheep of Israel, here's the shepherd, the good shepherd, sending out his disciples to reach his own flock. And that was the priority which he was giving. And he also says in Matthew 15, for truly I say to you, you will not finish going through the cities of Israel until the Son of Man comes. By the way, this is the truth which continues to this day, right? The Son of Man, Yeshua, has not returned yet. We still have a mission. And this is true both for us as Jewish believers in Yeshua and also for non-Jewish believers in Yeshua. The call to reach Israel and the call to reach the nations. Again, Romans 1:16, right? To the Jew first and also. Both must happen. But where is Yeshua's mission and his heart directed? When we think about the fact that Yeshua is the Jewish Messiah and what that means for us, it means we need to also share his heart. We need to also know the Hebrew scriptures like he knew them, so that we can share his heart with the lost sheep of Israel. We need to prioritize God's word and not man's traditions. We need to know his word in order to live it out. We need to have circumcised hearts. We can only do that through knowing Yeshua, our Messiah, and allowing God to circumcise our hearts, do that internal work which we ourselves cannot do. And through that, then we can be a light to the nations as well. Then we can live out our calling as a nation when we know our God, when we can live out the fullness of our Jewishness, not just ethnically descendant, but also circumcised of heart, not just in the flesh, but in the heart. Number 11. So glad I put numbers. It helps. There we go. So, he was born the King of the Jews. This is something which continuously goes over. So again, as I noted before, the Magi ask, where is the one who has been born the King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east and have come to worship him. These are non-Jewish people, by the way, coming to worship the Jewish Messiah, traveling a great distance just to find this Jewish king, the King of the Jews. The 12th point, not only was he born the King of the Jews, not only did he live as the King of the Jews and celebrate the Jewish holidays and celebrate Shabbat, but also he died the King of the Jews. So if you remember, this is that was sort of the question that he was asked, are you the King of the Jews? And he said, well, it is as you say, right? Yeshua didn't deny this true fact. And then I'll just summarize the next few points. He was resurrected as the same Jewish Messiah, right? He did not change. The minute he died, he didn't resurrect a generic, unethnic person. He resurrected a Jewish Messiah. He ascended to heaven as that same Jewish Messiah. He is sitting at the right hand of God as the same Jewish Messiah. Sometimes I think when people think of Yeshua, they sitting at the right hand, they forget, oh wait, it's not that he was Jewish. He is Jewish. That hasn't changed. And what we are waiting for is the return and the reign of the King, the Jewish Messiah, the King of the Jews. So, born a Jew, died a Jew, or born a Jew, lived a Jew, died a Jew.
There's no sound. If anyone can hear me, there is no sound.
Okay. Can you hear me? Marco? No Polo. Okay. Well, I'll continue. I'll let you guys help with that. But born, lived, died, resurrected, ascended, and will return the Jewish king, the King of the Jews. And we see that by by the way, Zechariah chapter 14, right? He will come, he will establish his reign, not in New York, not anywhere else in the world. He will establish his reign in Jerusalem. And together with the Jewish people, the nations will be required yearly to come up during the Feast of Tabernacles, during Sukkot, to worship this very same King of the Jews. In 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 8 through 9, Paul writes and says, "Remember Yeshua the Messiah, risen from the dead, descendant of David, according to my gospel, for which I suffer hardship, even to imprisonment, as a criminal. But the word of God is not imprisoned." We need to remember him as this Jewish king, descendant of David. No, I will leave that out because I need to be mindful of the time. So, why does all this matter? I tried to weave that into what I just said.
There's no sound.
Still no sound. Okay.
Oy vey.
Huh? Yeah. I understood that. It's just like, hello, Lord. I tried to weave in some of these things, but again, we need to share the heart that Yeshua had, share his mission. We need to remember what it is that we as a Jewish people have been called to. It's not just that we're a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's not enough. We need to walk in the faith of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in that right covenant. We want to live that out. For if we struggle to know the Tanakh, the Hebrew scriptures, I want to encourage us also to dive more deeply into the Hebrew scriptures. Just as Yeshua knew that, this gives us the depth of God's revelation. His revelation wasn't just for that period of, Yeshua's ministry, or even from the point that he was born, but rather we have thousands of years of revelation from God through which he shows his plan, his redemptive plan, and who he is. And that is what we want to know as well. This is also going to give us the tools and the ability to reach the Jewish people, because when a Jewish person who doesn't yet know their Jewish Messiah meets someone who has a relationship with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and knows the Hebrew scriptures, this is what provokes them to jealousy. Especially, by the way, if it comes from a non-Jewish person. That's even greater shock, because it's sort of expected that a Jewish person would know it, but not at all expected for a non-Jewish person. And again, Romans 9 through 11, that's a different talk at a different time. Why does it matter? It matters because we cannot let Satan continue to attack our people by separating these truths. We need to be able to be a light to our communities. We need to fully grasp what it means that Yeshua was and is our Jewish Messiah, so that we can communicate it to the world, as there are attempts to separate the people from their Messiah. Interestingly enough, this is just a last tidbit before we finish up, but after October 7th, about a month and a half later, as we were coming into December, and as more of these Jesus was a Palestinian attempts were circulating, a secular Israeli, what do you call it? There's a term, satire, satirical television show, actually made a 3.5-4 minute clip, really just responding to the Western Berkeley type thinking of those who are going pro-Palestine, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel. And I'll just depict this to you later on. If you want to, you can Google Eretz Nehederet. I always just write Eretz Nehederet Jewish Jesus, and it jumps up this particular thing. That's not the name of it. But it starts off with the nativity scene, and you have Joseph, and you have Miriam, and you have baby Jesus who has just been born. And in the background you see, I think it was either a menorah or they had 2 Shabbat candles. There were a couple of Jewish paraphernalia in the background, which made it very clear this is a Jewish home. And in walk in the 3 wise men from the West. And Miriam says, "Oh, we just had the 3 wise men from the east who told us that our son was going to be king of the Jews." And the 3 wise men from the west sort of laughed and like, "Ha ha ha! King of the what? King of the Jews? There is no such thing. We are the 3 wise men from the west. We're from Berkeley." And really just sort of. I won't share the entire clip verbally, but it really just sort of did 2 things. It showed the logical inconsistencies of things which are being said by those who are trying to make Yeshua out to being Palestinian and arming that as an attack against the Jewish people. On the other hand, here's the amazing thing. What were they claiming? These Jewish, Israeli, satirical, secular show, it was sharing that Yeshua is Jewish, right? It was actually making that statement. So I absolutely loved that clip. You can look it up yourselves. So if you just go to the very last slide, I'll wrap it up here. I'll just say, if you guys want to find out more about me, if you want to sign up for my monthly prayer letter, you can go to this website, chosenpeople.com/Ayelet, or if you have barcode abilities, this is a new thing, I got a barcode, then you can scan that and that will take you to my bio page where you'll see a button to click to sign up for my monthly prayer letter. As I noted in the back, you have these brochures. It explains a little bit more about Chosen People Ministries, but also in the very back, you'll see there's a picture of a crazy Israeli. That's me, by the way. And if you want to, you can read up. You can just put my picture up on your refrigerator and pray for me. But even if you forget to do that, as long as you remember to pray for Israel, guess what? That includes me and my family and friends and coworkers and my people. There are people whom we hope and pray for their salvation. So even if you just remember to continue to pray for Israel, as I know that you do, that would be wonderful. If you want to find out more about Chosen People Ministries or involvement or anything of that sort, there is a slip that you can fill out. You can then tear it and either leave it with me or you can send it into the address on the bottom. Okay, end of spiel. Do we have time for some questions? We have time for some questions. Does anybody have any questions? And it doesn't have to just relate to the Jewishness of Yeshua. So, any questions? Oh, can the mic travel? Yes. Thank you.